Welcome, everyone. How are we today? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I wanted to make sure. So, my name is Christine Conti, and I love being back on Long Island because this is where I am from. And I travel so much right now around all over the place, and I'll tell you a little bit about what the heck I do in a minute. But I love when I get a chance to come back to, home, right? Where I don't feel like anyone has an accent. That no one makes fun of me for my accent. So, welcome. My name is Christine Conti, and what I do in life actually is I am a chronic disease wellness instructor and specialist and advocate. And what I am blessed to be able to do in this world is to help people like me and many others that may have been told in their lives that, no, you can't. Or you may be in pain and you're like, oh, I shouldn't do that. Or I don't feel like myself anymore. And through different experiences in life, which we all have had, we all bring something very, very special to this world. And I want to share a little bit with you today about what is chronic disease awareness. What does that mean? And I want to share with you just a few things that you could do to flip the switch in your life. And I actually like to say that I'm on a mission to support chronic health, wellness, and happiness. So none of this chronic disease business anymore, okay? Can we get that out of our heads? Like, chronic pain, chronic this. No, I want you all to be chronically happy. How about that? Right? Chronically healthy. Like, that is what this is about. And that is what I love, and I want to share this with you because I like telling stories, and I will tell you this, that back in the day, I was actually an investment banker. That was kind of my jam, because I was always told, like, in order to be successful in life, you got to make a lot of money, right? And you got to have a lot of people below you. And I'm like, all right, okay. I really love movement, and then I decided, this isn't for me. I love the money, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't for me, sitting behind a desk. I knew there was something else. So I wound up going back to school, getting a master's in teaching and leadership, and I taught English, actually, for about 16 years. And because I figured if I could teach, I could coach, because that's fun. I like doing that, right? I like coaching, and then I could do some movement, right? I could actually, I was into fitness, and I taught all the classes back in the day, and the step touches, and the grapevines, right? And that was fun, and movement was something that made me really happy and really excited. And then I turned 30. Yeah, yesterday.
They all feel bad.
Okay, so then I turned 30, and my world got flipped upside down. And I know that I'm not the only person in this room right now who's gone through some stuff in life, right? Raise your hand, who's been through some stuff? Everyone get your hands up, seriously. I know, right? Like, don't be fooling yourself. We've all been through some stuff. So, age 30, I find myself sitting like this on a doctor's table, on that parchment paper, that weird scritchy, and you're like, all right, so I'm on this doctor's table, and this doctor comes in, she's going through a litany of papers, and I'm like, she finally gets to the end, and she's like, it looks like you've got, this advanced form of this autoimmune disease, and, we're going to hit you up with, a bunch of chemo and this, and I'm sure you've got many more years of independence ahead of you. I'm sorry, what? Come again? Many more I've got a small child. I love movement. My eyes start welling up with tears. Tears start streaming down my face. I will never, ever forget this. Doctor looks at me. She says, I don't know why you're so upset. You know, this is something, you know, you're gonna go on this medication. I'm sure that we can try and control this. What she didn't know is that my maternal grandmother was a quadriplegic. She was diagnosed with this same disease when she was younger. She died when I was 10 of complications of it. I never saw her walk. Nothing. All I could think of was, oh my God, I just got my death sentence. This is it, right? Also, raise of hands. Has anyone been told that they have something? Like, you have this. You are diagnosed with this. You don't have to tell me what it is, right? The other people have told you something about yourself, right? Oh, you have this. You should feel, right? Okay. So, this is what happens. About 6 months, 6 to 8 months, I am severely depressed. Severely depressed. Because what I didn't know was that this is a change in your life. These are the steps of grief, right? You're like in disbelief, and then you're angry, and then it goes on, and then, you know, finally, I was like, I got to a point where I looked around at my life, and I thought, I've got a family, I've got kids, I know the financial and emotional stress it was as a caretaker for, you know, my quadriplegic grandmother. And I said, I don't want that for my family. I said, but what I also don't want is for me not to be a role model for the people in my life. And as someone who was a teacher, as someone who was in this fitness industry where I was a speaker and I would go and present all these different programs and do research, I thought, you know what? What if, instead of feeling bad for myself, right? Raise a hand who's felt bad for themselves before. Well, woe is me, I've been dealt with a bad card. Oh, right? The Eeyore, right? I lost my tail again. I have no friend, right? Like, we've done the Eeyore to ourselves. But you have two choices in life, right? You could either do something or you could do nothing. What do? Something. Always choose something. Do you know who says that? Wonder Woman. Yeah, one of my friends gave me these shoes, my Wonder Woman sneakers, if you see them up here. I love to wear, I mean, you know, I had to have, I think they might be from like a, you know, China or something, but they're not branded, but they're very, you know, but that's what I think of. Like, you have two choices. Are you going to feel bad for yourself, or are you going to do something with what you have been dealt with in life? And for me, I kind of thought, well, I've got this platform, I've got this ability. Now, what can I do? I could sit back and feel bad for myself, and guess what? For anyone in here that's ever been on chemo or different medications, it's awful, okay? It's not so good. And I spent the next 10 years on and off different medications, but what I thought of was that, hey, you know what? I've got all these friends now that are exercise scientists, that are doctors, like the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Health and all this stuff that I've made these friendships with over the years. What can I do to best support me? I get what medications can do, but what can I do? Is there something that I can do? And that's when I started studying again and decided, wow, this is a really cool opportunity. And what I want to share with you is that this is actually, you can see this, this is actually one of the biggest quotes that I think of and I like to share, is that your mission in life is to find your gift. Your purpose in life is to give it away. Now, I would say like 80% of people, they live their entire life and they don't know what their gift is. They don't. They're doing all the things. They're going to school, and maybe they're getting married, and then get a house, and then maybe 2.5 kids, and right? And they're kind of going through the motions. So, your gift. I know my gift. My gift was that day that I was in the doctor's office and they were like, you have this advanced disease. That was my gift. Changed the entire trajectory of my life. Because I could have said, oh, well, I guess this is it. It's over. Like, I'm not going to be able to move as well. I'm not going to, I should probably do less because that's what people told me, do less. Don't squat. I know, don't get that. I'm just kidding. But these are the things, right? People always tell you, oh, don't do that or take it easier. I'm telling you right now, do the opposite. Do the opposite. Do all the things that make you happy. And that's where this comes in, because my thing was, hey, I got this disease. I could sit here and be sad about it, or you know what, maybe I can spread the word that there's stuff that we can do about it for ourselves. And for anyone sitting here right now that's thinking like, oh, my back, my hips, my knees, my neck, right? Anybody have any back issues? Exactly. Okay, yes, there it is. Back, knees, hips, whatever. So that's what I did. I spent about a decade studying what should I be doing. And I was in experiment one. From going vegan, right, which I did not have a good experience with because I really like certain meat. Okay. But I tried to go vegan. I took the acupuncture. I did like laser lights, like all these things. And I realized that every single one of us is an experiment of one. That there is no one size fits all. There isn't. And if we all stand up, look at the people at your table right now. Are you all the same? Same height? Same gender? No, you're not. So if I say like, oh, you all need to do this, does that work for everybody? No, you're all individuals, right? But you know what you can't do? Nothing. We're from Long Island, so nothing. No G's. No G's at the end of our words. So this is where this is coming. So we've got to give away. All right. So what is your purpose now? Give it away. This is what I want to share with you. One of the things that, or actually a couple things that I learned, and I want to give you some really good takeaways and some things to do. But as someone who gets to, I would say, I used to have to do things. Now I get to do things. I get to get up in the morning. All right, I get to be vertical. I get to exist, right? I get to breathe, right? Not everything works the same way. Not every part of your body is facing forward or up anymore. It might be down. Okay, totally fine. But we're all in this together. So I'm going to tell you a little story. It goes like this. There was this college professor, and his students walked in, and up on the board, just like this, is just a dot, black dot. Story of the black dot is what this is called. So everyone gets a sheet of paper, just here, black dot, and he says to the class, you have 20 minutes to write about what you see. And the class is like, all right, this guy's crazy, I don't know, whatever, but he's the professor, so they did it, right? So the kids puts up their papers, the next day they come back. Professor says, this is like the 15th year I've done this, and not once has anyone ever written about all the white space that's on this paper. Every single one of you has written about that little black dot. Everyone. Why? And the best part is that this is kind of representing our life, right? We can have all this wonderful stuff all around us, yet we tend to focus on this teeny tiny thing. Have you ever done that before? All these wonderful things happening in your life, all these things we can be grateful for, and all of a sudden, it's like this one bad thing happens, and we're like, it like ruins your day, your week, your month, right? It's a black dot. So what are we going to do with our mindset? Are we going to focus on the black dot? Are we going to focus on, my hips, my neck, my back? Or are we going to focus on the other things that we can maybe see as positive? Black dot, kind of important. The other thing I want to tell you, and I want to ask you this. Do you remember what you're supposed to do, or what you were taught to do, if you were driving your car and it started to slide on ice? What are we supposed to do? Can anyone tell me, what are you supposed to do? Could pump the brakes, but I heard a bunch of it, because this is the same thing I was taught. You turn into it, right? I always remember this, like, even when I started to drive, like, you know, like, going to a parking lot that had kind of, I remember my father being like, okay, and now we're gonna slide on the ice, so you can practice. And I'm like, ah, you know? But we turn into it, right? Hands raised, who had that experience? Turn into it. Hear that? Look around. Okay, many of us. That's interesting. Do you know that that's really an antiquated response? Yeah. Anyone know why? Automobiles now, cars, they have like an anti-lock braking system where you don't turn into the slide. It doesn't happen anymore. What's crazy is that, so you were like, oh, pump the brake. You can't, because it's the anti-lock whatever. You don't turn into it. Anti-lock. We still have these ideas, just like that, turning into the, you know, right. We have these ideas about everything. And we have these ideas about movement, right? We have these ideas about, how do I get healthier? How do I prevent chronic disease? I'm an arthritis fitness specialist. You know what that means? I tell people to move. That's what I tell them to do, right? Move. And they're like, Christine, what do I do? And I'm like, walk. Walk. And they're like, well, what else can we do? I'm like, squat! Squat! Just get up and down from a chair. That's it, those two. If you leave here and you're like, I don't remember what that crazy girl said, but all I remember is that she told me I need to walk and I need to sit to stand. There it is. There it is. One of my favorite little tips is that, you ever watch TV and you see commercials?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever see commercials for medications?
Yes.
Every time you see a commercial for medications, you know what I do?
Oh, you can. Oh.
Sit to stands. Every time you hear or watch television, you see a commercial for medication, sit to stand, 30 seconds. And then after a while, you're like, how many commercials? But remember, the more you can sit to stand, the more times in 30 seconds to a minute, the lower your risk is for falls. All right? What do I do in this world? I go around, I talk about arthritis and chronic diseases and fall prevention. That's my jam. I'm like the Statue of Liberty. Give me you're poor, you're hungry, you're sick, you're tired, right? That's it. Because we're the ones that need to keep moving. So that is the super important part. So when we think about, what is it that I should be doing? I just told you. What's the first one? Walk, and then squat. Has anyone had their doctors tell them don't squat? Don't bend your knee.
Oh yeah. Don't do lunges.
No lunges. So you also have like people that follow you around and pick things up for you in your house all the time. These are my favorite. These are my favorite things because sometimes when doctors say, "Hey, listen, your knees are bad. Don't squat," I actually look people straight in the face and I say, "What must it be like not to use the potty?" Sometimes I get the look of like, I can't believe she just said that. And other times it's like, wait a minute, let's think about what we do on a daily basis. You've got to walk, you've got to sit in a chair, you've got to get up. I don't know if anyone here was beamed here with a laser or you were in some sort of car. That sitting motion, the twisting, that core, you don't have to be doing sit-ups or doing any crazy exercises to get stronger. And there's some little things that, again, I'm going to show you in a little bit that I would love for you to take with you and practice all the time because it's about just moving the body. So here's what I want to share with you. A couple things. Number one, I've been a cover model only once. It was the Health Monitor magazine for rheumatoid arthritis. I'm very, very proud of this. Okay. No one needs anything else. But what I want you to think of, so number one is that, number one, chronic disease. 1 in 4 adults in the United States. Now, I didn't say 65 or older. I said adults. How old are you if you're an adult? 18, yeah. 12 would be juvenile, but 18 and over, 1 in 4 people, some form of arthritis. Do you know that it's about 50% of the United States right now is either diabetic or pre-diabetic? 50.
Wow.
50. Yeah. This is like real stuff. And I say this because some of the things I'm going to talk about are like easy stuff that we can do. Right? And I'm not saying like you need to hide your brownies when I walk in the room, okay? They look real good. You don't need to do that. But are we moving then for the rest of the day? Or are we going to be sitting? So a couple things is that what I like to say is that I like to debunk myths. When people are like, I don't know if I should be walking so much, I'm going to tell you, yes, you should. Right? There's nothing we can do better than moving the body, getting that circulation going. You have a lymphatic system in your body, right? The lymphatic system doesn't move on its own. We've got to move in order for that to work, and that gets rid of toxins and things that are bad in your body. So in order to do that, get rid of inflammation, we have to move. So those of us that are like, but I'm inflamed. Good, great, fantastic. You can sit there and complain, or you could move and maybe do something about it. I am tough love, but tough love is actually love, is what I try and say. I do. I go to a lot of hospitals and talk to doctors and I yell at them. And I'm not a doctor, but what I do know is that you've got to move, right? So that's what I want to kind of think about today. And I just like to look at something like this, like a healthy joint. How often do you get to look at healthy joints, right? There's your healthy joint. Let's say this is a knee, okay? Osteoarthritis, bone on bone. Yeah, right. I'm sure that there's a lot of us today, and we're going to check ourselves in a little bit about what our body's doing and talking to us. But that's your bone on bone, right? This is when it's like, hey, there's not a lot we can do. It's maybe surgery, right? Or you shouldn't be pounding on that joint. But I'd like to see the difference for rheumatoid arthritis or any sort of autoimmune. I just use rheumatoid, but any autoimmune that causes inflammation, right? And it's going to be red, and it's going to be swollen, and it's going to be symmetrical. So if you had an injury in the past, and you hurt your knee, as we get older, we get arthritis in our knee that we got hurt. It's normal. It happens. We all have it. But if you're like, I didn't do anything to my wrist, and my right and left wrist is swollen, and I don't ever remember hurting my ankle, yet both of my ankles are swollen. Yes, we need to take a look at this. And we need to think about, what are we doing? If you were ever younger, or now, and you had a night out, and you maybe had too many drinks, how do you feel the next morning? Not good, right? Well, you know what's interesting? We remember that. You know what you don't always remember? Hey, I just woke up and I'm swollen. What did I eat last night? What did I do yesterday? I keep a book. I keep like a journal, and I actually write it right on my calendar, and that's how I was able to figure out what foods cause me, because I'm an experimental one, what foods cause me inflammation, what foods make me feel good, what foods, I have to say that Chinese food, so good, so good, but if I eat it, I blow up like a blowfish, and I'm in a lot of pain. Yes, so, I know. Why do you spite me, God? Okay, so anyhow, but these are the things that, you know what? I lived in New York City. I love the good Cosmo or good martini. I know that causes me inflammation. And I wake up the next morning, I'm in a lot of pain. So these are things that over time, you're like, what did I eat? What did I do? If I eat out, that restaurant, ooh, they use a lot of extra salt. That wasn't good. It was tasty, but maybe that's not something I need to have all the time. Maybe it's something that the next day I need to plan. Hey, I gotta drink more water because I'm going to my favorite Italian restaurant. I'm gonna eat all the garlic bread that's full of lots of salt. And then the next day, lots of extra water. These are things that are so easy that can actually help us and help our pain as well. What I would like to do, actually, is tell you this. Well, we know lifestyle changes can positively affect everything we do, from our mindset to our inflammation to our levels of pain. And before I get you up, because yes, I am going to take you through a little mobility to see how you feel, which you should do every morning and every night. Every day's different, right? All right, especially those of us that have, different autoimmunes or different, diagnosis. Like, we need to do this. Like, you could feel different in the morning than you do in the evening. 1 week could be different than the next. And it's important to be aware. So, what I want to share with you is that I think of health as an umbrella. All right, what does an umbrella have? Many different sections, panels, right? So, I didn't bring an umbrella because it's bad luck. So anyway, big umbrella, and if you think of the panels, if you have an umbrella and it's raining, one of the panels is, I don't know, broken. What happens to you? You get wet, right? And is that a good thing? No. Your health is an umbrella, okay? It's not just about movement. It's not just about nutrition. It's not just about relationships like family, friends. It could be work-related. It's not just about sleep. We can go on and on and on. So your health is an umbrella. So think of what are the things that you are doing. You all have, and I like to sometimes, like even if you go home today, draw an umbrella. What are your panels? Some of your panels might be real strong. Like, I only eat the Mediterranean diet, and I never have anything fried. That's great, but then you don't sleep. Like, oh, okay. Sleep's the time your body repairs and your organs rest so they can work better. That's a problem, right? Or I exercise all the time, I'm so healthy, and then I eat all the fried chicken. Like, you can't out-exercise, you can't out-eat, you can't out-sleep with all the other panels. And that's what's really important to think of. So I'm not saying you've got to be like, this saint, but we've got to think about and just be conscious. Just be cognizant. That's what I am. I'm the accountability, shake-out partner. Because all that is going to help when you think about, my balance is a little bit off. Well, if you're moving all the time, it's going to be a little bit better. Oh, I'm worried about falling. Oh, well, if I'm moving and I'm doing sit-to-stands more often, guess what? I'm going to be a little bit more confident. My joints are going to be a little less stiff. My muscles are not going to atrophy as much. So it's really not this, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. You've got to just move. So I am going to invite everyone, if you would like, either to stand up or you could remain seated. Totally up to you. But I'm going to take you through just a nice mobility segment where I want you to really assess how you feel. You're going to really be in tune with your body. I want you to think of this as a checklist, okay? Like, check, how does that feel? Check, and this is every single day. All right, ready? We staying seated? Anyone standing? Oh, no. Stand if you can. Sit if you'd like to. All right. I didn't say talk. I'm just kidding. All right. So seated or standing, you're going to take your shoulders back. Chest is lifted. Abdominals engaged. Stay right here. If you feel comfortable, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. We're not used to this, a little awkward, right? Take a moment. So when we close our eyes, we kind of get a better idea of your body. All right, take a deep breath in through the nose. And then exhale slowly out the nose or mouth. Good, let's do that again. Inhale through the nose. And then exhale slowly out the nose or mouth. Good, one more time. Inhale. And this time, I want you to think about your forehead. Start to relax the forehead a little bit. Begin to release any worry lines. We're going to start to just kind of let go of any outside distractions, any worries, any lists, anything that's causing you stress. Take a deep breath in. And you're going to exhale and breathe it out. Good. One more deep breath. And now exhale, just let the eyes relax. All the muscles around the eyes. Good. I want you to think about your jaw right now. Where are my biters and grinders and clenchers? Let's relax the jaw. Good. If you want to open your eyes, you can, but I'm going to ask you to roll your head ear to ear. Just ear to ear. I want you to be aware of your neck as you do this. Any snap, crackle, or pops? Yes or yes? Okay. I call them Rice Krispies. As long as your head does not fall off of your neck and roll on the floor, you are okay. And remember, as we get older, it's natural. We get arthritis, we get bursitis in our joints that build up a calcium. As long as you don't have sharp, stabbing pain, you gotta move it. Gotta move it. Good. Bring it right back to center. Start to roll your shoulders. Once again. Snap, crackle, pops. Anybody? No, not as many. Some of them? Yeah. Good. All right, you're going to be mindful of everyone next to you so you don't elbow them. But what I want you to do is start thinking about opening this up a little bit, like making it a little bit bigger, as if you're getting up in the morning and just kind of like, oh. I'm going to try and yawn so everyone catches it. Good. Here we go. You know. Oh, there we go. Good. We've got it. Here it is. Oh, good. See? I know. It catches. Good. There it is. Good. All right. Stay right there. And I want you to go ahead and just take one ear to one shoulder. Feel this right here. You can even touch it with your other hand. That's your trapezius muscle. Leads into your neck. Right? Leads into the shoulder. It gets super tight. Yeah, when we get stressed out. Good. Go to the other side. Right? You can feel that. Is one side tighter than the other? That's the other question. Right? Because what happens is when one side of our neck or our trap is tight, it throws off our back, which then throws off our hips. Good. Little side to side. So everything is always connected. So you think of if you go to physical therapy for your hip, what do they work on? Your hip, right? But what is the underlying cause? Is your back off? Is your neck off? So just different things to think about. Good. Stay right here. Put your hands right on your hips. Now if you're seated, you're just going to kind of shift your weight from one hip to the other. But otherwise, if you're standing, I want you to circle your hips. All right, this is also when we're snap, crackle, pops. Anybody?
Yes.
All right, usually I get at least one like. Good. Again, we don't have to be exotic dancers. Just a little rotation, right? Good. Exotic, right? There it is. All right, we're going to stay right here, nice and tall. So shoulders are back again, chest is lifted. Right here. Put your hand right here for a second. There it is. This. Slouch. Keep your hand there. Stand up straight. By standing up straight, you're actually working your core. You actually burn more calories each day when you have good posture. Up to 50. Eat the cookie, stand up straight. There it is. Okay? The other thing I want to tell you is that, go ahead, bitty bad posture again. What's happening to your organs?
Crushing them.
You're crushing them, right? Do they work as effectively? No. So here, we're giving them lots of room to function, to circulate. This is huge when it comes to inflammation. And when we think about breathing and we think about digestion, you have bad posture, and that it's called kyphosis, right? Where we're here. What happens? Digestion issues as well. So a lot of this, sometimes when you're like, oh, my stomach is bothering me, simply standing up straight makes a huge difference for digestion. Bring your hands next to you right now. I want you to slide one hand down the outside of your thigh. Good. So this is lateral spinal flexion. We're just taking our back and we're stretching, we're reaching, getting a nice stretch. Anyone sore right here? Tight? Yeah, right? Yeah. I don't want your too much pain, but yes, it should be uncomfortable. What's happening to your stomach now? Think about this. On one side, everything opening.
Yep.
So if you think about your digestion, actually your food comes up the right and goes out the left. So when we think of after we eat, this is a great way to help with inflammation, right? Because we're getting everything up and everything down. side to side. Good. Perfect. Bring it right there. You're going to take a deep breath. You're going to round and give you a big bear hug, just like this. I want you to feel your shoulder blades. Is there a lot of room between them? Hopefully. There is. Yeah. All right, you ready? We're not going to hit our friends, but we're going to take our arms all the way out and open the chest. How does that feel? Oh, do that again. Inhale, round. Exhale, open. This is my favorite. I sit at my desk. I'm writing for a little bit. I'm just inhale and then exhale, right? You should be doing this all day long. Where's Teresa? Do you hear that? All right, all day. All day. Good. Round it. So inhale. Exhale. That's it. Good. Inhale and exhale. By the way, you're going to hold it right here for a moment. You are now the statue overlooking Rio de Janeiro. It is beautiful. It is sunny. It is gorgeous. Good. Open up the shoulders. Open the chest. Anyone tight through the chest? Right here?
Yeah.
Go ahead right now. Take your thumb and press in right here on those pectoral muscles. No, I mean like really press. It should hurt. Yeah, you know why? Because they're super tight because we're always like this. Right? And these muscles are loose. Right? So if you want, what's really great is this is just pressure point techniques. So if you press in nice and hard, and it might hurt a little bit for like a couple seconds, what happens is we're stopping the blood flow to a certain area. Okay, guess what? When you release, what's going to happen after we stop the blood flow? Right? That's it. The blood like gushes back into that area. So this is actually a really cool technique that you can do if you're like, oh, you know, I'm really tight, I'm really sore. You know, really just press in, like with a thumb, pressing in, stops the flow of blood, then it gushes. Same thing goes for your neck. If you take, instead of that, we always kind of circular motion, right? Instead of that, really press down. And I'm not talking being nice to yourself. I'm talking really press where you're like, ah! Press, hold it. What's going to happen is that tight muscle, right? Stopping the blood flow and then releasing, it actually gets a lot looser. So just little teeny tricks that really make a big difference. All right, put your hands right on your thighs. Here we go. It's my favorite. Now, my doctor told me I can't squat. Listen, we don't need to squat very deep. All I need you to do is push your hips back just a little bit and then bring them up. I want you to think of your core, this is your stomach, your sides, your back, as a bucket of water, okay? We gotta tip some water out of the bucket, and seated is the same thing. All right, we're just gonna come forward with the back straight and sit all the way up with the core nice and tight. All right, ready? Slide the hands towards the knees, and then bring it up. Here we go, tip the bucket. We're pouring some water out the front, and then the bucket's straight. None of this yet, okay, here we go. Down, and then up. Do we feel this? We feel a little something in the hips, in the knees. This is it. This is all I'm asking for. That's it. Yes. Good. Do that one more time. Bringing it down. Now this time when you come up, I want you to squeeze your glutes, that's your butt cheeks, together as if you have a winning lottery ticket and it's really winning. Okay. Here we go. Let's do it again. Down. Ready? Just squeeze harder. It's very windy. There you go. One more time. Down and up. Look, we don't need machines. We don't need weights. Right? Is everything else tight in your legs? Oh, good. Good. Shake that out. Shake everything out. How do we feel? Yeah? Take a deep breath in. Oh, you're tired already. No, you're not. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Good. All right. Take a seat. Take a seat. And what I want you to do while you sit is march. Sit and march. That's it. Just march. Yeah, I'm going to stand as I do it, but you're marching. All right, there it is. Okay. This is what I love. As you started marching, many of you started marching without using your hands. Okay, what's great is that if I said, oh, just walk, you all would just walk like this, right? But when I tell you, and you're seated or something's off, all of a sudden it's like we have the same hand, the same leg, or we're not using our arms. I don't know about you, but I've never seen anyone in the supermarket like walk around like this. Ever. But it's like a phenomenon. But I want you to move your arms. Super easy. That's it. So I talked about before, like we're sitting too much. This gets super tight. This part right here, the hip flexors. they get weak, they get tight. What do we need to do? Pick up our feet. That's it. If you notice yourself start to shuffle, you know what I'm talking about. It happens. We start to shuffle, right? You know what we do? You march around your house. March. Everywhere you go, you march. Get those legs up because this hip flexor needs it. Needs it. Okay? Now, take your hand, opposite knee. Good. So for those of us that were like, I don't know why this is weird because we were with the same arm and the same leg. That's a cowboy, right? Like walking with there. Okay? So there it is. Good. Keep going. I didn't say stop. Oh, I know. I know. Keep it going. Do you notice that you're working your core too?
Yeah.
Notice that? Yeah. We haven't lifted a weight yet, have we? Well, we have. It's our legs and our arms. Right? And the heart rate's coming up a little bit. Yeah. Good. Shake it out. Around the back. That's it. And now take your hands. See if you can bring them around the chair. Just a little bit. Okay. Around the chair. All I want you to do is sit right here. Sit right here. This is your like perfect, impeccable posture. That's it. Impeccable posture. Hold it. You think you can stay like this for the next 10 minutes?
No.
No. Not no. So I want you to think about your posture. Why? Why would you say no? Because
Too tired.
you're tired. Your muscles are
Tired.
tired, right? Because they are not used to this. This is it. This is the start, and this is what's so important, which I love to talk about, is that when you think about little things that you could do every day to help with chronic pain, or help with arthritis, or help with just feeling better, your posture. And what we did with those movements, I actually call it top down. So sometimes I do workshops for different companies, and they'll bring me in and say, all right, Christine, like, let's talk about arthritis and movement. And I'm like, okay, arthritis from head to toe. And I say, if you think that we're going to sit here and I'm just going to give you a bunch of exercises that everyone should be able to do, when you think about chronic pain and arthritis and movement, it starts where? Your head. It starts in your head. Are you willing to stand up? Are you willing to march? Because if you're not willing, then who cares? Then you're completely checked out. Completely checked out. There was this study that was done. I was listening to this the other day. There's a woman, Dr. So-and-so, I forgot her name. She's a professor at Harvard. And right now she's about 90. And in the late 70s, she did this study. And she took a bunch of people. And what's really cool, she's done these like all throughout her career. She took a bunch of people that were, I don't know, early 80s. Aged were early 80s, like I think 78 to like 84, group of people. And she took them, removed them from their homes, wherever they were living, whether it be family or whatnot. And she had them come into like an apartment building. And these were people that, I want you to think of, when you think of like really old, what do you picture? Right? Like really like bent over, like really barely mobile, weren't really doing anything around the house for themselves. Like everyone was doing, whether it be cooking or picking something up or whatnot. And what she did was she removed that from their lives and took a certain amount of time with this group of people and said, you have to cook for yourselves. You have to make your bed, or try. You have to do the laundry. You have to, and guess what happened? They did it. Woo! It was, so there was, some other parts of this study, but she did all of these different things where it was like, when you think you can't do it, what is Henry Ford, right? If you think you can't, you can't. If you think you can, you can. And yes, there's limitations on everything, but it's fascinating because it starts with our mind. Well, my doctor told me I can't squat, so I'm not going to squat. Well, what are you doing? You're losing your independence. And don't we want to be independent for as long as humanly possible? And, what's interesting is that, I walk in and many times you're like, well, who is this? She doesn't have anything to worry about, right? There's a judgment. Who thought that? It's totally fine, right? Like, what is this girl gonna tell us? Like, blah, blah, And, it's that book by the cover sometimes. When I was 30, and it was like, I'm sure you got some more years of independence.
You are 30.
I am 30, thank you for that. Right, actually 21. I tell people, actually.
No, not 21.
When they ask, when people ask my age, I give them one of two answers. Either 21, but most of the time I say 100. Because
No,
if you
wait
say
a minute.
100, you set yourself up for a compliment.
Yeah.
Any other age, like you kind of come on. Like you never know what they're gonna say. But like if I'm like, I'm 100, people are like, you look great. Like so it's like kind of that thing. So I always say like, either just go high or go low. No in between. Just not okay. But those are some of the things that I wanted to share with that. With that mindset is so important. The other thing is that blue zones. Anyone ever hear about blue zones in the world? Ooh, okay, if not, this is one of those things you gotta Google. It's like Googleable. Blue zones. When we think about what's the number one killer of, what's the disease that gets both men and women, doesn't discriminate in the United States? Anyone know? It's not cancer. I know. Cancer's like heart disease. Heart disease. It loves women. It loves men. It loves everybody. Okay. So we've got, think of heart diseases, cancers, diabetes, all these things. Well, there are 5 places in the world that have the most amount of centenarians, and they're also very independent. So I'm not talking like these are people that not only live to 100, but they live to like 100, like 112, and they're still mobile. They're not like vegetables, right, on an incubator. They're still like, they get up in the morning and they do the things and they feed the cat okay. So what happened was there was this man who went and studied these areas. 5 areas in the world. And one is in Japan, one is in Greece, one is in California, one is in South America, and the other is, I can't remember. Anyhow, there it is. Italy, that's it, Sardinia. Yes, Sardinia. So they go to these places and they say, what the heck is the deal? Like, what is it about these places? Because Japan is very, like Okinawa is very different than Sardinia, if anyone's ever been there, right? Which is also very different than Loma Linda, California, which is another one. So they're like, there's got to be something to this. So they did all these studies, and they came up with 5 pillars. Bless you. 5 pillars of what the heck is, what is it? There's got to be something. So here they are. Number 1 is that everyone in these areas, they ate a lot of plants. They didn't eat a lot of processed food. If you can tear it open with your teeth from a bag, it's probably not that good for you. Right? Listen, I'm not telling you don't have your glass of wine. I'm not telling you don't have your occasional, fried foods or this and that. Most of the stuff they ate came from the ground. Right? Fruits, vegetables, fish, meats. The meats weren't pumped up with like hormones or whatnot. That was it. So that was one. The second one. Love this. They tended to move throughout the day. I didn't say exercise, right? Exercise is like that awful treadmill or the bike where you're like, oh, this is awful, right? And I have to do it. No, it's like they got up, they went for a walk, they were like, in a garden, that was it. That was it. So there was no like, have to exercise. They just moved. They walked throughout the day. They moved. The third one was that they valued family. They valued friends. So relationships were big. Like they weren't isolated. They weren't like, not talking to people. They weren't by themselves in the woods, right? They were absolutely around family and friends. That's it. They valued that. It's really important. So I always think of love. Like they had loving relationships. Like relationships weren't stress to them. The fourth one was that they all had some sort of spirituality. So whether or not they believed in like a God or they went to church or they had a temple, there was some sort of hope. They prayed. They prayed. They believed in something. They believed that there was something that is greater than them. And then the last one, which I think is so important, is that every single one of these people or these cultures, they believed they had a purpose in life. So, a purpose. Yeah, they all believed that they had a purpose in life. And I like to kind of end and culminate with this, because I went back. I'm going to go back to this for a second and just share this with you, right? Your purpose in life, right?
All right.
Purpose in life, super important. So what I want you to think of right now is, as we get older sometimes and we retire from our jobs, or we move away from family or friends, or family members don't need us anymore so much, right? Or we don't feel as needed. Sometimes we feel like our purpose is diminished. And that is something that we need to keep until our last breath on this planet. And when we think about chronic pain, we realize that chronic pain is mental, right? Your depression, your anxiety. So when I say that 1 in 4 people have some sort of chronic pain, or it's 1 in 2 people in the United States have some sort of chronic pain, because depression and mental pain it counts. So the purpose, you could be like, I don't know, someone who's got gardens that feed the whole world. Or maybe you've got a little plant that you wake up to every morning that needs you and it needs water to survive. That's purpose. Do you have a cat? Are you getting up every morning to feed Fluffy? That's purpose, right? Is it something like, hey, you know what? I love to call my friend because I think my job is to make them smile. That's purpose. Like, these are things that we don't realize play such a major impact on our arthritis, on our chronic pain, on our anything. Because if we're stressed and we're not having a good mental, frame of mind, stress causes inflammation throughout our entire body, also our organs, right? Inflammation causes pain, and it also causes disease. So this whole umbrella idea of it's not just one thing. So today, I would love for you to leave here and say, hey, you know what? Christine said that I should do what, remember? Walk and squat. Okay, those 2 things are kind of important, right? And I didn't say push-ups, I didn't say backflips. I said walk and make sure you sit to stand. A whole lot every day. I don't care if you hold on to anything. I don't care what you're holding on to. All right, make sure it's stable. But those are the things that are important. So like I said, do the best you can with your nutrition, right? With your movement, with your some sort of relationships, right? Do you have a way to combat stress so that you're not getting inflammation? Can you go for that walk? Can you breathe some fresh air? And what are you believing in? What do you believe in? Because you all have a purpose. So the way that I love to end every time that I get to be with all of you is this. I want you to take a deep breath in, and what we're going to do this together. Please don't hit your friends. We're going to take a deep breath and bring our arms up over our head. So it's going to be a deep breath in. But then when we exhale, this is just the practice round, okay? When we exhale, we're going to take a big sigh like this. Okay, so when we inhale, you're going to inhale all the good things in life. All the things that make you smile, all the things that let you shine, that make you happy, that you love. You got it? Think about it. When you exhale, you are going to let go of anything not serving you. Anything negative. Any negative self-talk. Get rid of the I can't. I'm not good enough. We're going to get rid of those. Okay? In the good, let go of the stress retention. All right, you ready? Here we go. Let's try it. All right, here we go. Inhale all the good. Exhale, let everything go. Look, that's not loud enough. Let go more. Here we go. Inhale up. Exhale. Good. Put your hands on your hips. Shoulders back, chest is lifted, abs in tight, confident in who we are, ready to conquer the world today, whatever lies in front of us, because life is way too short not to, and you are worth it. One more deep breath, all the good. Exhale, let go. And good. Give yourself a little round of applause. And I know that we were going to do a little Q&A. I also have 2 giveaways too. At some point, we didn't decide how we were going to do that, but I do have 2 giveaways to do somehow.
Why are you all looking at me?
It ain't her first rodeo, yeah? Like,
You realize that I just got a whole bunch of ammo, right? By Christine. So every Monday and Wednesday at 12 o'clock, we got a 7-inning stretch coming. We're getting up and we're moving for at least 2 minutes. Okay, Christina, does anybody have questions? Anybody have any questions for Christine before she gives stuff away, even though we don't know how to give it away yet?